Time. Time is said to heal all wounds. And yet, 10 years after it was inflicted, an open wound still exists in the heart of New York City.
This is Ground Zero, the site where 1 decade ago, terrorists took down the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center and shook the very foundation of the United States. On this special edition of Today's Air Force, we'll take a look back at the events of that tragic day. We'll talk with families of fallen heroes, and we'll spend time right here at Ground Zero. The images and video of 9/11 are burned into people's memories, a stark reminder of how terrorism hit home. The most startling images are those of people, the people of New York City and of the Pentagon, who lost so much on that day 10 years ago. But among those painful images, we also remember the heroes, the first responders who charged into the burning towers. They forever changed the way we look at our firefighters, our police, our protectors. One of those heroes was Staff Sergeant Jerome Dominguez. His is the ultimate story of service before self, and one that will never be forgotten.
Jerome Mark Patrick Dominguez, New York City police officer, Air Force Security Forces member, died on 9/11 doing what he loved, helping others.
He was the most selfless. He really was the guy that if you said you were hungry, he would give you his last bite of food.
Jerome would display that service before self attitude countless times throughout his life.
He had the most Green Crosses in the New York Police Department. It's an award that's given by the Jaws of Life people, and you have to have saved a human life, and he had 92 of them.
In boot camp, he graduated with honors. In Security Forces Academy, he graduated with honors. And as a result of leaving boot camp, he also earned an Air Force Achievement Medal because he was Johnny on the spot and saved someone's life right out in San Antonio. A motor vehicle accident with a bus and a small car just happened to happen right in front of him. And he was Johnny on the spot. He got out of the vehicle and approached the injured woman and knew what to do, knew what life-saving skills he needed to administer to save her life.
He was really good in a panic situation. If something went wrong, he was the calmest, coolest, most collected person to be able to think clearly and say, okay, you got to do this, you got to do that, this is what we have to do, this is where we have to go.
Since we were little kids, he would always play it being in the military. You know, he loved it, he studied it. He always really loved the idea of service and of really being able to actually do something and not just talk about serving your country, but being sort of on the active lines of the people really out there doing it.
His primary goal was to get in and get as many people out. I know that for a fact because that's the way he was.
Nobody who knew him could say that, you know, he would have wanted to be anywhere else, and that, you know, and he really wasn't like a victim. This was like his calling.
It's almost like somehow he knew that he was never going to be an old man. He was never going to be, you know, get old and be tired. It was like he knew he had to fit everything in life in as fast as he could. He just had like a knack for taking care of people.
His personal safety came second. He believed looking out for other people more than himself.
At the very least, all the other people who died there knew that there were people trying to save them, that they hadn't been abandoned. You know, no matter how bad it was, there were people who would still run in and try to save them. You know, they died with that dignity of knowing there were people who would run in after them and not leave them there to die.
He always put service before self. He would always put somebody before him. And my job as a senior NCO is to pass his legacy on to the new troops coming in. When we get new troops into the unit, we bring them out to his monument. We explain to him, this is a troop just like you as a new basic airman coming into your unit. He achieved his goal by whether it be graduating with honors, NCO of the year, and he motivated everybody around him to do the same thing, try to achieve first place. So my job is to pass his history onto the new troops that are coming in. Because it's 10 years now. There were very few people left that knew him from 10 years ago. So when these new troops come in and they hear his name, they go, who's Jerome? Who's Dominguez? What did he do that's so important? he did a lot that was very important.